Hi, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today is Sunday, um, January 10th. The moon is in Sag all day. I'm going to go over the astrology of the week, day by day. So this is the week ahead in astrology from January 10th to January 16th. It is a very active astrological week. And next week is also a very active astrological week. There are a lot of things coming to a head this week. There's a lot of changing and a lot of shifting. I said in my monthly Kabbalah and numerology, as well as my monthly astrology, that there was a sense of everything that has sort of fomented in 2020 is coming to, we're moving from that energy to a new energy. There was a indication of that energy. There was a sense of that energy when Saturn and Jupiter made their conjunction in the first degree of Aquarius, the first few minutes of Aquarius, as it were, on the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. A powerful time in its own way, in its own right, made even more powerful by that conjunction that only occurs every 20 years. It also starts a cycle of these 20-year conjunctions occurring in the sign of air. Previously, they occurred in Earth, except for in I believe it was 80, when they moved into air. I think it was Libra. But the one that happened in 2000 was in Earth, was in Taurus. This one that occurred at the end of 2020, of course, was in Aquarius. And the remaining conjunctions will occur in Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. So there is a shift of energy from the more earthly to the more mental. Last week was very challenging. When we looked at the astrology of last week, we saw the potential for trouble, I guess. So let's look and see what we can come up with today. We're going to do the astrology first, and then I'm going to do a card reading on the energy of the week ahead, once we've sort of gone over the astrology. So let me share my screen with you folk. Oops. Sorry, guys. So I haven't had my cup of coffee yet. So we're not going to start here. Let's see. We're going to start, that's the 12th. What do we have here? The 11th. And what do we have here? The 9th. I want to start actually with yesterday, because there was an aspect that occurred that's definitely worth talking about. I talked about it yesterday, but maybe visually seeing it, I think, is a good idea. And that is the Mercury-Saturn conjunction. And that Mercury-Saturn conjunction occurred right here. We can see it in the chart right here. It occurred at 2 degrees 40 minutes of Aquarius. When you're looking at the Sabian symbols for these, you are you round them off. So if you want to pick what Sabian symbol it is associated with this conjunction, you round it off to 3. So the Sabian symbol for 3 degrees of Aquarius is the point where these two planets came together. So before we go to the Sabian symbol, which is definitely worth looking at, Saturn in a chart deals with the structure of things. It is the last planet seen with the naked eye. So it is the planet associated with our sort of three-dimensional life here on planet Earth. It is, in a way, the ring not pass. You cannot see past Saturn unless you use a telescope. Then you can see the planets beyond Saturn. And that's symbolic of the fact that you need to use an extra sensory something, a tool perhaps, to see beyond the scope of Saturn. And that tool, and of course, the next planet is Uranus, Uranus being the great awakener, Uranus being the planet of democracy, okay? And that we need to utilize our third eye for. Now, a lot of what's going to be going on this week has to do with the planet Uranus. Uranus is the planet of revolution. It is the planet of rebellion. It is also the planet of chaos and anarchy. So there's all of that energy sort of, it's like a giant pot being stirred, okay? And with Jupiter and Saturn having their conjunction in Aquarius, this next 20 years is going to be a journey through those themes, the themes of rebellion, the themes of individuation, the themes of humanitarian endeavor, also an Aquarian archetype. The balancing or the redistribution of wealth so that it is less up and down and more horizontal. That is the future. That is the future. So so let's take a look at this Mercury conjunct Saturn. Of course, Mercury is our minds. It's how our mind works. And with the conjunction of Mercury and Saturn, which occurs every year, in the sign that Saturn will inhabits, because Saturn is in a sign for 2.5 years, and Mercury goes around the zodiac, you know, like the sun, you know, it's in a sign for a little while. We do have 3 Mercury retrogrades this year, all of them in air. So there's going to be a lot of thinking, a lot of pondering, a lot of in our head. It's going to be, to a certain extent, a mentally stimulating and challenging year. So watch your nervous system, guys. Make sure you're taking the right nutrients that you need to take. Make sure you're going to your chiropractor, getting adjusted, doing what you need to do to help support your nervous system. And you can probably even feel it now, how on edge and nervous you might be. So be aware that that level of fight or flight really kind of needs to be avoided, really, if we can. But if you can't, make sure your body is getting the nutrients that's necessary to sustain yourself, because you can burn yourself out. And there's enough out there to make us sick. We don't have to help ourselves with that. Okay, enough of the enough doctor talk. All right, so today I'm just going to say that the moon is in Sag. It does go void, of course, at 1:30 p.m. here on the East Coast of the US, and does not go out of that void, of course, until the moon moves into Capricorn. And that's occurring tomorrow at, let's see, 8:30 in the morning here on the East Coast. So after 1:30, the moon is void, of course, and it usually, you usually feel like you're not connected to anything. You can feel like you're living in your own little bubble. And it is a philosophical bubble. So know that. Know that a lot of us are in our belief bubble. I guess we'll call it a belief bubble today. And the moon does make a square to Neptune today, and the moon makes a conjunction to the south node of the moon. Now, if we just look here on this chart, here's the south node of the moon here. We can see that on Saturday, the moon was getting closer to that south node. Today, the moon is going to be making a conjunction to that south node. And the moon is our experience, right? It's what we're experiencing at this time. And in Sagittarius, it is about our beliefs. And conjunct the south node, perhaps we need to look at some beliefs that we have that have are it's time to let go. Now, I know there are a lot of people who were avid Trump supporters. People that I know, I haven't spoken to them, so I don't know if they still avid Trump supporters. But I would have to think that some of them have perhaps changed their minds about that, considering what happened on Wednesday. If in fact they actually know what happened on Wednesday, because a lot of times their news sources are not exactly what happens, right? They went now, of course, many of them are blaming the violence on Antifa. Antifa wasn't there. There were neo-Nazis there. There were QAnon people there. There were white supremacists. There were Proud Boys, pro-patriarchy, I guess. There were ex-military. There were police officers there. Most of the people there were white and male, but there were some women. A woman got shot. She was ex-military, and she was ranting and raving. And most of the people that they showed talking to people, the press talking to them, they had a wide-eyed look, and they really, really believed that they had to be there to save democracy, because Donald Trump tricked them. So today can be a day when they look and say, or they can continue to drink the Kool-Aid, another shot of Kool-Aid, because I'm having my doubts now. So I must imbibe the lie. And of course, Donald Trump has been taken off of Twitter. So I'm sure they have their ways of connecting with him. But Twitter is no longer viable, nor is Facebook, nor I believe is Instagram at this time, which I think is a good idea. I think it's a good idea. All right, so back to this. I think I went off the rails here on this aspect. But in Aquarius, Saturn as the structure of our reality, and then Mercury as the planet of the mind, this is an opportunity for us to, a seed is being planted. A seed is being planted, and it has to do with the structure of things. Now, I want to go over, and I'm not going to switch this over for you, but I'm going to switch it over for myself. And I'm going to read you the Sabian symbol for, if I can find where my Sabian symbols are, okay, for this 3 degrees of Aquarius, because it's very interesting. Now, remember, this is the conjunction of Saturn and Mercury. So this is really the structure of our consciousness, and then Mercury being the planet of information. As Mercury moves away from Saturn, it is going to be gathering information. When Mercury is opposite Saturn, and I apologize for not knowing when that is, it will probably be in July sometime. When it is opposite Saturn, we will see what was seeded at that time. And then from that moment in probably July to when it comes back to make another conjunction with Saturn, which will happen in 2022, I believe, it will be a distribution of that information into the collective. So a lot of what is getting planted at this time, excuse me, with this aspect is not going to be evident to us until the summer. Okay, so let's go to 3 degrees of Aquarius. A deserter from the Navy. This is the symbol. Says the individual's self-realization through a crucial repudiation of collective status, which has become unbearable. So the collective status, the status quo, how things are, is unbearable. The symbol recalls, okay, never mind. Let's see. Desertion is emphasized and reference is made to the Navy, suggesting that the crisis symbolized here is one implying an irrevocable change of status. Man refuses to accept this type of cultural patterns derived from his society's specific approach to local circumstances and to the universe as a whole, and in another sense, from its particular relationship to the all-human collective unconsciousness. The Navy refers to the ocean, a symbol of primordial and unconscious evolutionary forces. He not only refuses to obey orders, he deliberately turns his back on the collective social status. He becomes an outcast, and through his decision, he may definitely individualize his consciousness. Aquarius is an energy of individuation. It is an energy where we turn our backs on the social order or the social obligation or the social perspective, and we look to our own will, our own self, to say, do I agree with this or don't I agree with this? And then from that point, it is about moving on and working for the good of all. It's like allow to a certain extent self-governance and community governance and fair distribution of resources. But it initially starts as a revolutionary act, I think this also indicates that those things that the society was structured upon, and in the case of the United States, our society has been structured on white supremacy, oppression of indigenous, and oppression of Blacks. So that is where we are, and that is what people want to break free from. So there's that. Okay, so that was yesterday. We're not even in the week yet. Okay, so the next chart we're going to look at here, if I can find my charts. Okay, so the next chart we're going to look at is what is going on the 11th. So the 11th, so this is Monday the 11th. The moon is in Capricorn. It moved into Capricorn at 8:30 in the morning on the East Coast. It does make the moon makes a trine to Mars, which is in Taurus now. And then we have a conjunction between Mercury and Jupiter. Okay, let me find this here. Okay, so here's the chart for Mercury conjunct Jupiter. Here we have Mercury has moved away from its conjunction to Saturn at 3 degrees of Aquarius, and now it meets up with Jupiter at 6 degrees of Aquarius. So let me read to you the Sabian symbol for 6 degrees of Aquarius. Now, Mercury and Jupiter in their synodic cycle is a synodic cycle that's associated with our minds. Jupiter is the creative mind. Mercury is the logical mind. We're talking about right brain and left brain. When the two are conjunct, it's as if the mind is on a single point, right? The mind is the intuitive and the intuitive and logical mind are at the same point. And as this synodic cycle opens up, okay, because this is a year-long synodic cycle, again, as it opens up, Mercury goes out to get the information necessary for whatever realization occurred on that, or whatever seed was planted on that conjunction. So, did I say it was at 6? I believe I did. So let me pull up 6. And I am going to make sure that it's at 6. So just give me a second here. Yep, 6. All right. The Sabian symbol for 6 degrees of Aquarius, a masked figure performs ritualistic acts in a mystery play. The individual's involvement in long-established patterns of activity aiming at the release of collective power. Now, Jupiter is the planet associated with what we believe to be true. Okay. And Mercury is the planet of facts. And so we will be gathering facts as Mercury moves away from Jupiter over the next year. It says the great mysteries of the past were created by inspired seers and adepts for the purpose of transferring to a mentally conscious and humanly significant level of group operation what in the lower kingdoms of life we call instincts. Biological and cosmic energies can thus be used to ensure that social processes do not lose touch with the deeper realities of planetary and universal life. Rituals and binding are often the performers. Rituals are binding, and often the performers wear masks, for they do not act as human persons, but as focal points for the release of transpersonal forces. So this is a callback to our past, perhaps. And oh, I'm getting something. What is this?
It's coffee.
Oh, I'm getting coffee.
Not that bad, but it's okay.
Ooh, yikes. I just got some coffee. This is my first cup. Woo, I'm zipping now. Boy, that's strong. Okay. So I think what's interesting about this theme is when we watched what was going on the 6th, there was that guy wearing the horns and the shaman guy, right? And with his sort of wild tattoos and his sculpted body and his big and his horns. Mars was in Taurus and Uranus is in Taurus, and Uranus in Taurus does bring up this sort of this animalistic nature that we have, and it is something that we're going to have to come into a better relationship with. There was a lot of symbolism that occurred, and I don't think all of it was I think there were messages in all of it. Let's put it that way. Not that I agree with what they were doing. So, but I think that I also think that the dates that these guys are picking for this is the day and this is the day and this is the day are very powerful days for revolution. And I'm thinking they might have an astrologer on their payroll. That's what I think, because they usually don't. America, well, let's say politicians or whatever, at least the regular ones, the regular guys, they don't seem to look into that. And I think that somebody is looking into that. And of course, one of the things that the Nazis paid attention to, right, was that stuff. So they knew, and I think that that just so you know, they're picking power days, people. And so we have to fight the power that they feel they're due, because this is a revolution. And who are we going, what kind of revolution is it going to be? Are they going to keep us huddled up in fear? as they put their vision for the future out there? Or are we going to fight back? We're going to have our own vision. And when I talk about fighting back, I'm not talking about getting on the streets and banging heads. I'm talking about taking our energy and focusing on what it is that we want to see in the world. It's happening. It's going to happen. And it could happen sooner than later if we put our energy in the right place. And that's what I hope we all do. And that's one of the reasons why I do this stuff. I don't know who's going to hear me. I don't know. But I just want you to know you have the co-creative power. And love is the great uniter, not hate. Okay. Let's go back to this. Well, I'm going to go back. You're still looking at this chart as I'm pontificating here. All right. So this particular, this is for the United States. This is for Washington. This conjunction on Monday. What happens is once this conjunction occurs, then Mercury makes a trine to Chiron and Jupiter makes a trine to Chiron. These are last quarter, no, these are 300-degree Aquarian side sextiles. This is about moving into a more humanitarian collective way. And Chiron in Aries, the wounded masculine. I mean, if there wasn't a symbol of the wounded masculine, if we didn't see it, plain as day, on the 6th of January, we weren't looking. That is the wounded masculine. That is the masculine that feels like the world order is crumbling. They are afraid. They want to fight. They're using everything they can. They're trying to desecrate. You know, they came with their zip ties. I'm sure they were, you know, they were talking about hanging Pence, poor bastard. But you know, if they were, if it had gone further and they were able to actually do harm to the senators or the House members, you know that there would have been blood of the Democrats on the floor. You know that, right? It didn't get to that. Perhaps they didn't want it to get to that, but we don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know, and I don't think we're gonna know until we're on the other side of this. Just like we watched it on TV, but we didn't realize how bad it was until a couple of days later. So literally dodging a bullet, perhaps. So again, what do you want to focus on? You want to focus on what you want to see, because your consciousness, your mind, and your heart aligns with spirit is a powerful force. And you might say, well, don't I need to get out there and, you know, be in line with that? Or what do I do? Do I just stay at home and imagine this? Yeah, it's a powerful thing. And then you take actions, right? Voting Trump out was an action that we all collectively took. And what, 8 million people more voted for, was it 8 million, 7 million? Voted for Joe Biden. The people spoke. And they want to get us because they're not interested in what the people have to say. These extremists, they want to know what they want to say, right? This is my house. I have the right to be here. It was like narcissism on parade. That's Chiron in Aries, folks. That's Chiron in Aries. And with this conjunction of Mercury and Jupiter making the sextile to Chiron, we can come together and figure out how we're going to heal this wound. How are we going to heal this wound? It needs to be looked at. It needs to be, the wound needs to be opened up. The pus needs to come out. It needs to have light and air and healing salves and love. And the United States, Chiron is in Aries at 20 degrees of Aries. We are going to have our Chiron return at the same time as we're having our Pluto return. Now we have our Chiron return every 52 years, so it's not our first Chiron return, but it is our first Pluto return. So we have quite a lot ahead of us, but it's exciting because we can create the world that we want. We can. Yes, we can. All right. So what else do I want to say about this? Did I read the Sabian symbol? I did. So this is so the Sabian symbol was about the masks and the mystery play and all of that. So for those of you who understand what I'm talking about with this stuff, and those of you who are connected to or mystery school or that kind of thing, you need to use your powers. Okay, it's time. It's time. The light workers have to shine their light. In Wicca, we say this, this is what we want, or for the good of all, to harm none, or better yet, or better than that, even, like, because we can't imagine how good it can be. So imagine what you want to imagine. Make sure it's in the positive pole of things. Make sure it's what you want to see. You want to see destruction? You want to see the Capitol get burned down? Then think that way, right? But if you don't want to see that, don't imagine that. Don't imagine it. There's power. We have collective power. Neptune, I'm going to show you here. Neptune is square the nodes of the moon. Neptune is collective power. Collective power. Okay, so let's look at the 12th here. Let me just do this. I have to do it this way so I can see what I'm looking for. Okay, so on the 12th, so now we're looking at, we talked about the 11th, which was Monday. We're on the 12th now. On the 12th, we have a square between Mercury and Uranus. Mercury and Uranus. Mercury is, where is it? Here's Mercury at 7 degrees of Aquarius, and here is Uranus at 7 degrees of Taurus. This Mercury-Uranus square is a last quarter crisis in consciousness square. It is about individuation. Uranus is our higher mind and Mercury is our lower mind. And our higher mind is in charge here. Our higher mind is in charge here. And so this is sort of allowing for the awakening, allowing for the mind to awaken to this, to different possibilities. It doesn't have to be the way it's always been. We're open to new possibilities. And Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius. And so it has influence and it's in Taurus. So part of our vision for the future, Uranus, Aquarius, has to be a different relationship with the earth. Okay. All right, so this is happening. We have Mercury, and this is for the United States again, Washington, D.C. We have Mercury in the 11th house. This is the house of the Senate, right? This could very well be them discussing getting rid of Trump, actually. I think they're going to be doing, I know they're doing articles of impeachment. I know then they're going to send it to the Senate. I don't know what's going to happen with that. That's, still not, we still don't know yet. But don't be surprised if things that you think are going to happen, that you think couldn't possibly happen, might happen. Because this is a time of revolution and a time of evolution. All right, so now the next day is the 13th, and this is a very powerful day because we have there's a lot of things happening on Wednesday. I mean, we thought this past Wednesday was a lot of things happening. This Wednesday, the 13th, big time. Okay, so the 13th would be, let me see, what's the vibration of that? That's a 14 and a 5, 19, one vibration. So this particular day, January 13th, 2021, is a 19, one vibration. In the tarot, that is the star card. As I understand it, this is an opportunity for us to move in 180-degree direction from where we're going. So what direction were we going into? Authoritarianism. What direction can we move away from and go in the opposite direction? Humanitarianism, right? We the people. We have an opportunity with this new moon. So let's take a look at it. First of all, the new moon occurs in Washington, D.C. at 12 midnight. Midnight sun, guys, the midnight sun. Conjunct, the moon is invisible, of course, because it's conjunct the sun. It is, when you look at a chart, this is what you see in the sky, and this is what's underneath. So this is underneath. This is at the very sort of nadir of the chart, right? The nadir. So this could even be symbolic of being at a nadir, right? Being at the bottommost place, and the only place we have to go is up, right? I like that. Here we have this occurring at 24 degrees of Capricorn. I will talk to you about the 24th degree of Capricorn. It is conjunct Pluto at 25 degrees of Capricorn. In fact, the next day, tomorrow, the sun will make a conjunction to Pluto and starts the synodic cycle of the sun-Pluto, which takes a whole year to come to fruition, and illuminates our relationship to power, illuminates our relationship to responsibility, self-responsibility, self-governance. Okay. So let's see here. So it's occurring in the fourth house. The fourth house is the house of the people. This is the land. Okay. This is the land. New moons are about new beginnings, sort of a new birth. So this is a new birth in our relationship to being responsible. And what is responsibility about? Responsibility is about being responsible to yourself, but also being responsible for others. Capricorn is an archetype where you're governing not just yourself, but you're governing others. And it has to be in such a way that you're responsible for what you do. This particular conjunction is in a trine to Vesta. Vesta in Virgo. Excuse me. Vesta in Virgo is part of a giant mutable grand square with Vesta opposite Neptune. Vesta square the nodes, Neptune square the nodes. Mutability is about thinking. And the thing is, with this mutability, we can spin. We can think of something and spin and spin and spin and spin, unless there's something that's connecting to that and sort of pulling something out of it. There has to be things that are pulling out of that. And one of the things that's connected to it is Mars. Mars is actually in a, let me see, I want to make sure that I'm saying this right. Is it sesquiquadrate? Yeah, Mars is sesquiquadrate. In fact, Mars here, I believe it's Mars, and where's the other part of this? Let me see. Mars and Saturn are in a Thor's hammer with Vesta. Vesta is what we focus on, and in Virgo, it's about service and healing. So this could be the military as well. And I'm going to show you this chart just in a natural chart and give you an idea of what I think is happening with this chart. And I think I'm going to do that right now. So let me flip this up. So this is the same chart. It's still for Washington, D.C., but I put it in a natural chart because I want to show you this up here. The sun and the moon making a conjunction to Pluto, balsamic to Pluto, in the 10th house of the president. So this looks to me as the possible removal of the president, and Saturn and Jupiter in their conjunction. They're still conjunct in a new phase conjunction with Mercury there, and Pallas Athena, the goddess of social justice, in the house of in Aquarius, all in and be as Aquarius, for the Senate, working the Senate and the House and working together for the common good. So this could very well be the end of Trump. It's an opportunity. Will it happen? Again, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, but it's an opportunity for that. The other thing that's going on, and so let me give you the Sabian symbol for 24 degrees of Capricorn, where this new moon is happening. And it's going to sound familiar because a lot of these Capricorn conjunctions of 2020 were right around this degree. So let me just pull this up. And I know I'm taking a long time, but I feel this is really important. I might actually have to do this, do the actual card reading separate. I'll see how long this video is. 24 degrees of Capricorn, a woman entering a convent, total commitment to a transcendent goal. A convent is a place available by a community which believes in the possibility of reaching a world transcending state of consciousness. It is made available to individuals who may be variously motivated. To some, it is an escape from the intolerable pressures of family and society. To others, it represents the possibility of pursuing in peace a spiritual ideal which the whole being aspires and is totally dedicated. The important point in this phase of the process is the existence of a convent expresses another aspect of the relationship between society and the individual. In the okay, let's see. It says here, I'm sorry here. It says, we see the paradoxical nature of the social process operating more strongly than ever. This derives from the fact that man's nature contains in seed the possibility of overcoming and transcending itself in acts of complete denial and surrender to the higher law or quality of being. All spiritual techniques are indeed paradoxical. Rigid discipline conditions pure inner freedom. The final goal is the attainment of transcendent security. Transcendent security. So this is really about devoting yourself. Also, devotion is a word associated with Vesta in Virgo, which is trining this, a devotion to a ideal, and the spiritual ideal of love and connectedness. So powerful times, powerful new moon with all of this. Okay, so we also have on that day, and the new moon occurs at midnight at 6 in the morning, 6:02 on the East Coast. There is a square between Saturn and Mars. Now, this is the third of 3 Saturn-Mars squares. These are first quarter crisis and action squares. So let me pull this up here. Where is it? This should be first quarter square. I think I have the wrong thing here. Okay, where are we here? Here's Mars. Here's Saturn. So these are first quarter squares. I know this says last quarter square, but this is a first quarter square. This is a crisis in action. 4 degrees of Aquarius, 4 degrees of Taurus. Let's look at that. Let's look at that Sabian symbol. Okay, so 4 degrees of Aquarius is, just have to find it in my Sabian symbols here. A Hindu yogi demonstrates his healing powers, the disciplined use of spiritual energies in restoring the natural harmony disturbed by man's inharmonic attempts to transcend nature through the mind. And then 4 degrees of Taurus. And remember, this is a crisis in action. These were seated, the conjunction was seated in March. I believe it was, well, it might not have been March. It was seated last year, and it occurred at 1 degree of Aquarius. The conjunction that seated this began at 1 degree of Aquarius. It was either March or April. I'm sorry, I don't know that specifically. But 4 degrees of Taurus is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, riches that come from linking the celestial to the earthly nature. So this is about our spiritual ability, our connection to nature. I'm like overcome by all of this. It's just so, it's really special. It's really special. I mean, this seems like a crazy, chaotic, maniacal, oh my God, the world is ending. But actually the world is beginning. This is a new birth, people. Focus on what you want to bring into the world. Focus with your heart, all your mind devoted to the fact that we can move through this time. And on the other side, bring beauty and love and compassion and balance back into the world. We can do it. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. All right, what else is happening on that day? Because that's not enough, right? That's not enough. We also have a trine between Venus and Uranus. Let me show you that. I don't know if I have that as a separate, let's see, Venus, Uranus. No, I don't have. What I do have here, let's see. So this is the initial conjunction of Venus and Uranus. And it occurred, let's see, it occurred at 5 degrees of Taurus. See that? 4 degrees, 1 minute, 5 degrees of Taurus. And this occurred back on March 8th of 2020. That was just before we went into lockdown, right? The beginning of March. We still weren't quite sure. And now what's happening is Venus and Uranus are in their Sagittarius side trine, social rewards here. So let's look at 5 degrees of Taurus in the Sabian symbols. What was seated at that time? A widow at an open grave, the impermanence of all material and social bonds. Interesting, right? An interesting little symbol for this. It says here, all natural compounds decay, says the Buddha. The most beautiful and most enjoyable substance loses its potential energy through continuous actualization, and the principle of integration and form is withdrawn, leaving the void, the open grave, that ends all attachments. The void is the great challenge. What next? One must begin anew, and if possible, at a higher, more inclusive and universal, less egocentric level. If COVID hasn't taught us anything, and brought out anything, besides fear and loathing, right? It's brought out our compassion for one another. And, wearing a mask is showing that you care about people. It really is true. This stage in the sequence deals with the root element and basic actions and responses that may seem negative, yet it opens the door of self-renewal. Beyond the personal attachment rises the possibility of participating in a larger sphere of existence. The possibility rarely manifests itself except as one is ready to discard the past. Discard the past. Okay. I told you there was a lot going on. Okay. So back to, let's see, what do I want to look back at? Nope. So back to this new moon, and I'll show you where this is. Where's Venus? There's so much stuff here. Where's my little Venus? Venus is going to be, oh, here we go. Venus, right? Venus is trine Uranus. Venus is trine Uranus. And we can see that it's not trine here because it hasn't gotten to that point yet, but it is going to trine Uranus on this day. So while we have a day where we can take out the old and bring in the new, right? And release the past. This is a great opportunity for healing, folks. This is a great opportunity for healing. As to what it's going to look like, I'm not sure, but ultimately it is for our healing. All right, so let's see what else is going on. So that's about it on that day. Like if we need anything else. The next day, Uranus stations direct. Uranus is the planet of change, awakening. We're awakening to something, people. It changes direction at 7 degrees of Aquarius. 7 degrees of Taurus. We have to remember that Mars on the 6th moved into Taurus, has been moving closer and closer to Taurus, but Taurus and Uranus has been moving retrograde, but now it stands its ground. Now it stands its ground, and Mars continues to move towards it. When the outer planets change direction, it takes about 7 days for them to actually change direction. And they're not actually changing direction, it just looks that way from planet Earth. It just has to do with the fact that we move at different speeds, kind of around the same track, just at different speeds and different distances. So it's kind of like a visual Doppler. Like when you're in the train and the train next to you comes and is actually, you're both moving forward, but one is a little slower than the other. So it looks like one is moving backwards. That's what retrograde is. It's from our perspective on planet Earth. But it is powerful. And when these planets change direction, there's usually something happen in the outer world that can be explosive. And Uranus deals with explosives. So this is a very fraught time. So if they are able to get Trump out, there may be some repercussions from that. But that being said, I do not believe that it's going to stop forward progress. It's not going to stop the progress. Okay. All right, let's look at that Sabian symbol while we're at it here. Okay. What did I say? What degree was that? Oh my God, can you imagine? I just looked at it and I can't remember. There's just so much, just so much. All right, 7 degrees. Let's see what it says for 7 degrees. The woman of Samaria at the ancestral well, the meeting of the traditional past and of the creative spirit pointing to the future. I like that. The symbol refers to a most important but unusually narrow interpretation or interpreted away episode of the Christ mythos. Early in his mystery, Jesus met a Samaritan woman at the ancestral well. This woman belongs to a tribe despised by the Jews. Moreover, she was unmarried and therefore on the fringe of even her own society. It is to this kind of woman that Jesus revealed that he is the Messiah. I am he, a revelation that he apparently will not bestow even upon his own disciples, at least not in words. What does this mean? Jesus, as the avatar incorporating the Christ impulse, came to replace the old tribal order with a new order based on universal love. It is not representative of, or even to men still attached to the old order, that Jesus could reveal his spiritual, evolutionary, and socially transforming status. They had to instead reach to a point where they could discover his avatarship. So Jesus revealed himself to a stranger. Jesus revealed himself to somebody living on the edge. And so there is a truth to the need for change that was seen on the 6th, but it's a change that we all feel. Black Lives Matter was a change that we all felt that needed to happen. So we took to the streets. These people felt like there was a change. Were they tricked? Yes. Does that mean that there isn't a change that needs to happen? No. They are desperate, maybe against change, or the fact that they think that their lives are everything, like every signpost is being taken away from them, and they're afraid. And of course, Trump knows how to manipulate people who are afraid. That's why he makes people afraid, because it works for him. He's a criminal. Okay, let's see what else. So, because so this is Uranus changing direction. Is, it could be an explosion of some sort, but it could also be an explosion of consciousness. We don't necessarily things don't have to blow up for us to look at them. They can blow up within our own consciousness. Awakening. We're awakening. It's about awakening. This is vibration, the 14th, right? It's a 14, 15, and 5. This is a 20 vibration. This is the judgment card in the tarot on the 14th. So judgment comes down. And on the same day, we have a conjunction between the sun and this is when the sun makes its conjunction to Pluto. And here we have it here. Occurring, incidentally, for the US, Washington, D.C., occurring in the house associated with the Congress and the Senate at 25 degrees of Capricorn. So this is a new beginning, a new relationship with power. Let's look at the Sabian symbol for that. I don't think this is a Sabian symbol that deals with throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I think this has to do with things that are already set and useful to us. Okay, let me see here. It says a store filled with precious Oriental rugs, the use of cultural and artistic processes as a means to enhance personal comfort and appreciation. A rug always is implied to some extent something on which a person stands or sits. It is the foundation for cultural understanding, and as such, it can have a magical or sacred meaning, as in the case of prayer rugs. The woman in a convent probably knows only a bare floor because her goal is one of transcendence, of surrendering comfort as well as cultural patterns. But the social elite, or even the Oriental devotee praying to his God, society offers the relative comfort of a beautiful rug so that they can meet the universe. not merely in terms of the support of the natural soil, the support the natural soil gives, but protecting by and securely establishing on the mental, spiritual, as well as manual achievements of those that keep the cultural symbols alive. Reliance on tradition. So, in a way, here in the United States, the tradition would be the tradition of the forefathers. So I feel as though this is symbolic of not not breaking those down, the ideals of America, but putting a rug on it and making it comfortable for more people, because the ideals of America are ideals worth having. But one of the ideals of America is equality, which it is not equal here. And this is an opportunity for us to go in that direction, which of course is what Aquarius is all about. So, all right. And yeah, so I think that's it. The 15th, which is a Friday, the moon moves into Pisces. There are no major aspects occurring on the 15th. We may all need to just go into meditation, whatever it is that you have to do, to come down from this huge awakening moment. The 16th which is Saturday, we have the moon in Pisces making supportive sextiles to Mars, to Uranus, and to Venus. And what this does is it helps to bring the experiences that will seem overwhelming and not particular, maybe almost like happening out there and not in here. We'll have time to bring it into our consciousness and work with it a little bit. And then the 17th starts another week of transformation and awakening. So it's not over, but I think that there are many things that we may not expect to happen that will happen this week. What is your relationship to power? How responsible are you? What can you do? What do you want to see? Visualize that. Focus on that. Where does Capricorn fall in your chart? In my chart, it's occurring in my house of work, sitting on my progressed Saturn. So this is a watershed time for us, guys. All right, so thank you for sitting with me. That was a lot. I know these things can get long, but I think they're important, and hopefully you could follow. So now let's do the card reading. All right, I'll be just gonna catch my breath and have a little coffee. Actually, I'll do it while I have you here. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so you can actually see the cards. Hi. Whew, I feel like I just ran a marathon. Oh, what cards do I want to use? Actually, the cards I want to use I left in the house, so the wild unknown. You know what? I'm going to go get them, because if we can't use the wild unknown tarot for this week, when can we use it? Okay, I'll be right back. Hi guys, I'm back. I gotta go in the house. All right. So the week ahead. All right, I want to do a really good shuffle on this. So we're looking at the week from January 10th to January 16th, 2021. The week ahead. What are we going to see? What do we need to be aware of, Spirit, please? What do we need to be aware of as we face this upcoming week? What do we have to face in this upcoming week? Okay, almost ready. I was just listening. I think it was to Michael Moore, his emergency podcasts. The one he did on Wednesday was pretty intense. But he mentioned that the Biden administration is 50% women, and I think there's more people of color in it than there are whites. You know, oops, sorry, whites. You know what I mean. Let's see. And of course, the white supremacists are not happy about that. You know, they talk about it being about liberty and all this stuff, but it's really, they don't want to lose their power. They don't want to lose their power. I can't think of a better poster child for the wounded masculine than Trump, right? All right. I can't believe this, right? This is amazing. All right, I'm almost done. Almost feels right. I really want to do a good job on this, so I'm sorry it's taken me so long to shuffle. I just feel like it needs to be the right time. Come on, what are we seeing? What are we seeing? Where? What? Almost done. All right. Waking up, folks. We are in the midst of a great awakening. The dove of peace. Remember the 14th. This is the vibration for the 14th. And as you can see, what's happening is the darkness is being dispelled. And it's all sort of I don't know, it's like the light is being shined, and we're all rising up. We're all rising up. What cross is it, the Lovers? Your choice. Your choice. The north node of the moon is in Gemini. The Lovers card is associated with Gemini, right? So it is about a choice. You have the choice. Which direction are you going to go in? That is the challenge. Are you going to wake up, or are you going to stay sleeping? Because those who awaken are going to have a different experience than those who remain asleep. Are you going to remain asleep because you're afraid? Or are you going to wake up to the possibility that you have more power than you ever imagined? And that power isn't power over. It's not the power that Trump wields. No, it's not based on fear. No, it's based on love and our connection to our own souls and our connection to our own hearts. The Tower moment. I think this is the downfall of Trump. I really think they're going to impeach him. And I think the Senate's going to, I don't know. This is his Tower moment. it's hard for me to imagine that the Senate is going to agree to it, but you never know. You never know. In the past, we have the Daughter of Pentacles. This is there's a gentleness here. There's I feel like these are the people who need, this is most of us, right? Kind, gentle, compassionate, helpful, helping our fellow man, helping each other, feeding people. The best of us, I think is seen in that Daughter of Pentacles. Strength in the sky. Strength in the sky. Stand strong, people. As you sow, so shall you reap. All right. Compassion, love. This is a Leo card. Okay. Compassion and love. Immediate future. The Four of Pentacles. This is building a foundation. We are building a foundation for the future. Coming together, our minds coming together, creating a portal and a future. You see the rainbow of this, a future of many colors, domestic situation, rising up out of the brambles, flying free. It's very positive cards. Hopes and fears change and fast. We know who's hoping for that and who's fearing that. And the outcome is the Empress. And while many readers see this as Mother Russia, I do not see this as Mother Russia. I see this as the rise of the feminine. You know, it's interesting. Underneath it all, the Eight of Swords, having to transform while in a cocoon, right? We're all home, right? We're stuck at home. We can't get out, you know, a lot of us. Hi, little birds. They're all like flying by my head over here. I have I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. Let me see if you can. It's kind of bright. See, there's the, now watch, no birds are going to come because I said there's all these birds. Oh, there's a little one right there. So cute. Hi there, little bird. You can't see it. I know. I'm sorry. There they go. They're like crazy birds, man. What are those Angry Bird things? But they're not angry. They're just a little crazy. All right, good. Great cards. Great cards, people. Even though this is at the root. This is the big change. This is the big change happening this week. All right, before we go, one more pull. I'm going to pull the Mystical Shaman Oracle. I did that, was that last week? I did it. And I have the book this time. So I can actually read what it says instead of just taking it out. Oh, I should pull out. What does the Magical Shaman cards have to say to us? Advice for us as we face this new week. You know, and to a certain extent, you know, I'm making this all about America, but it's not all about America. But America is sort of considered like the most powerful democracy, really the most powerful democracy. And is there such a thing? Can a democracy really hold power? The power of a democracy is in its people. And its ability to communicate and talk to one another and come to consensus and get out of our corners and, you know, agree on certain things and agree to disagree on other things and still be able to lead helpful and useful lives. The world is waiting to see what happens. The world is waiting. So one of the other things that you can do is you can put your senators and even the ones that, even Mitch McConnell, really put them in a bubble of love and protection, in the hopes that they will make the right decision. In the hopes that they will make the right decision. Well, I got the Andean cross, number 2. Number 2. So let's see what it says. The Andean cross represents the cosmology of the shaman. It depicts 4 cardinal directions, the upper and lower worlds, and the steps to reach these realms. The hole in the center is a gateway to interdimensional travel, the proverbial eye of the needle. We can all go through to experience higher states of awareness and wisdom and break free of linear time. We are breaking free, people. We need to go in the center of that. Remember, we have that mutable square in the chart, and we have Vesta. What do we devote ourselves to? Service to one another, to heal the sick, to take care of the people. Vesta holds the key there. The Andean cross announces the start of a great journey. It is time to raise your gaze from the mundane day to day to that which until now has seemed beyond your grasp. Allow new wisdom to guide you and stop trying to make sense of it all before you respond with a resounding yes. Yes, say yes to life. L'chaim, l'chaim. The time has passed and the window of opportunity is closed. This is for this way. I just want to read it because this is also, we have the choice, right? We have the choice to evolve or we have the choice not to. We have the choice to awaken or not awaken. The time has passed and the window of opportunity is closed. Now it is not the moment to take the leap you have been over preparing for. It is best to wait until conditions in heaven line up again to offer you your most propitious moment. Any bold action you take now will require tremendous effort on your part. Just as important as knowing when to act is knowing when to return to your inner stillness and wait for a more favorable time. Very, very powerful reading, very powerful week. Hopefully this can help you, guide you, dissuade some of your fear. Know that this is a time of great awakening. So keep your eyes, your third eye, your heart open as we move through this time of great change and great promise. Much love, much, much love. I am happy to be here with you through this time. Comments are welcome. Like and subscribe. Donations are appreciated. If you can, if you can't, I understand. Your attention is a gift to me. Much love. Take care. See you next week.